had to learn from it, but you could often be punished for it if you screwed up. You know, the subtle punishments like staying behind, go to detention, be grounded.
Did you spend much time in the office, Jack?
I spend more time there than out on the playground. But today, as like someone who's older and raising a kid, I realize that failure is actually one of our greatest learning tools.
Sure.
And if we don't learn to deal with failure, we're not going to have the successes, right?
That's it. I know. And everyone's sort of afraid of it. Even the word, I mean, it sounds so heavy, like failure.
Ominous.
You're a failure.
You
failed at that.
with a hard F.
Yeah, and it's like pass or fail, right?
Yeah.
And so of course there's this negativity to go along with it. But I do think it's important I know in business and in raising my family, like I know at Mabel's Labels, we say there are no failures, only lessons.
Yeah.
A failure, really, we would see a failure as not learning the lesson that was given to us as a gift.
Yeah, that's right.
From it. Like if we keep making the same mistake over and over again,
yeah,
that's a problem. But if there's a mistake made, and that's why after every project, after everything we do, we always autopsy it. We sit down and we're like, what went well? Even better if. Because the next time we go to launch a product, if we make the same mistakes, well, I'm sorry, that is a failure because you're not learning lessons.
Yeah, that's right. And it's true. Like if you look at it that way, like it's something you need to learn from, right? Like I keep telling Maddie, if you don't fail at something, you don't learn how to fix it. So that when it does happen again, you don't know what you're doing. You're just stuck. If it goes perfectly every single time, you have learned nothing. There's nothing to learn from that, right?
It's true. And that's why I think, like for my kids, I feel also that, I'm not a big fan of participation trophies.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, honestly,
calling BS on those.
Well, honestly, I've got enough things that need dusting in this house. And honestly, for my kids, they don't see the value in them either.
Yeah.
They really don't. They're okay, like, if they don't win the final game. They're okay. Mm-hmm. And I'm good with that. Like, I'm good if my kid gets cut from a team. How are we going to deal with that? If you want to make it next time, what do you think you need to do to get there?
Yeah,
like,
that's
whatever.
Right. It gives you tools.
Work harder. Yeah.
Learning tools.
In fact, actually, I have one kid who I thought could maybe use failing a bit more because I felt like she could use a few lessons from failing.
Yeah.
But then I realized, I thought, maybe she won't get into the really hard university program. And she did get in. But at the same time, with that particular kid, I realized she didn't need to learn the lesson because she actually works her butt off.
Yeah.
Everything she gets is not because it's like dumb luck.
Yeah.
She works her butt off at everything she does.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, times when it doesn't go her way, she's actually okay with it too.
Yeah.
But I do think it's important for kids, we're always, I think, as parents trying to prevent the failure from happening.
Yeah. Well, because also for us, like if our kids are failing in school, we feel like
we're projecting it on us.
We haven't done enough. We
we
bred this kid who can't do it, and it shouldn't be so polarizing. It shouldn't be so black and white, right? Like the problem with not understanding failure is that I have a daughter now who will sit in class, and if she sees a task in front of her and she doesn't know how to do it, she is so afraid to try because she doesn't want to fail that she will sit there immobilized by fear. And she will do nothing for that half an hour or 20-minute period.
Oh, that's awful.
So she's unproductive.
Right.
But then she's created this fear in herself that she can't do it, and it chips away at her self-esteem.
Yep.
So you have to
totally. And you see this with so many kids now with anxiety.
Yes.
And with fear of trying things, doing things because they're so afraid. And what is she afraid of? Like what will the friends laugh at her? Will the teacher think less of her? Will she get in trouble by you? Like what are these kids afraid of failing?
Well, think about it as an adult. What are we afraid of? We're afraid of seeing a shortcoming. We're afraid of not being able to do the thing we really want to do.
Sure.
We're afraid of being judged and critiqued.
I think we're afraid of real things too. Like, people don't want to get fired.
No,
people want to be able to provide for their families. There is that. You don't want to fail in things like paying your mortgage, whatever. Like, there are some real things that are...
There are consequences.
But I feel like if you start and you learn how to deal with failure and take the lessons, then you're going to experience less of it.
Yeah.
Right?
And we never used to talk about failure.
Yeah.
There's a gal in Toronto who has this great speaker series called Fucked Up Nights. And
so good.
They are so well attended, and people just go on about them because guest speakers come up and they talk about their business and their biggest failure and what they learned from it and how they learned to pivot. And I think we all get strength from that kind of messaging. We
Right.
think, oh, yeah, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
It's actually the beginning of a new chapter or a new phase or a new opportunity. And seeing the opportunity in a something that failed, I think that's where we really need to embrace this whole
And I
sentiment.
think it allows us to not only learn from it, but also to have some fun with it. It makes us real. It makes us relatable. We
Yeah.
all screw things up. And in fact,
You're very good at it.
Very good at it. In fact, every year I do a blog post at the end of the year
Yeah.
about my mom fails over the last year.
Yes.
And it's wildly popular because it's like, okay, I'm not alone. Julie screws up too. And it allows me also to just be like, you know what? I make mistakes, but I learn from it. I move on. And there are things like, you know, I meant to pick my kid at the airport, but I got my AM and PM mixed up. These things happen.
That'll happen.
We all have
That's
a lot
fail.
on,
Yeah.
right? It's a fail. So I think by being able to kind of make light of it and have some fun with it and also learn from it,
Yeah.
it's very humanizing and it helps connect us all.
Yeah.
And I do want to say, this topic of failure is so interesting. We'd love to hear, you know, how you perceive it and what your failures have been or what you've learned from them or what discussions you're having with your kids about it. And we're doing a giveaway. I was actually quoted quite nicely in this book by the amazing Jessica Leahy, who wrote a book called The Gift of Failure. And she really does talk about how allowing your child to fail is a gift to them and it will better set them up for success. So that is what we're going to give away.
Yeah,
because
that's great.
Every episode we're doing a giveaway of a
Yeah.
woman author, a woman entrepreneur, a service product. And this is what we're going to do this time because it's very topical.
Yeah.
So be sure to let us know in the comments what your feelings are around failure, and you will be entered to win.
Share one of your great failures and what you
We'd
learned
love
from
to
it.
hear it.
Those
We'd
are
love
great
to hear
stories.
it.
Failures make the best stories.
Totally.
That's why you should write a book.
Nice.
We'll give that one away.
Friend fail.
Mom fail.
Wife fail. We can do this all
Ooh,
day.
we could go on.
But tune in next time and we'll see you then.